I've lost it. I've officially lost it. No, I've lost my mind, and I am stressed beyond belief. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie, and this is all about my life after gastric bypass surgery. And depending on how things go, this might be it. This might be the video you're getting this week, because let me tell you, I've finally cracked. I have finally cracked under the pressure, and I just... Deep breaths. Deep breaths. Actually, I just upgraded my Fitbit, and it has a relax setting on it where it will set me through deep breathing exercises, so maybe I should try that tonight. I've been alluding in a few of my videos lately that I'm just under a lot of pressure and just feel a lot of stress. And, you know, as that relates to weight loss and this whole journey, I mean, I think a lot of people can relate. It's one of the easiest ways to just fall off of track when you are trying to do something like, you know, weight loss and being healthy and mindful and keeping wellness in the forefront of your mind. It is so easy to push that aside and try to prioritize the other things that you are feeling like is a problem in your life. And I've talked many times about how I still am working on my coping mechanisms. I'm still in the trenches in this. I'm only 6 months through. I'm not even anywhere near being an expert on this stuff yet. I'm still learning how to cope appropriately. I'm still learning how to not fall back on bad habits, and there's just a lot. And without getting into the boring details on why I'm so stressed, it's just one of those instances in my life where everything is finally getting to the point where it's too much. I am still running into duck issues. This morning was probably my trigger that sent everything cascading out of control because we had more duckling hatching issues. I don't even know how to talk about it without going into stupid, excruciating detail, but essentially we had an issue where we have multiple sets of eggs that are all hatching at different times because we weren't being careful and we weren't watching like a responsible pet owner does. We've had 3 different hatching times for these ducklings, and not only does that make things staggered, and instead of all of it happening at once and you just sort of deal with it and then it's over, we're having to go through it periodically, week after week, and it's just something that we weren't prepared for them to not be good duck moms. We did this last year. Last year was the first time that we hatched ducklings outside with our ducks, and our mama was impeccable. She was amazing, and I think we kind of got jaded and we thought, oh yeah, we're gonna have a wonderful time again. If anyone knows anything about poultry in general, but hatching ducks is not an easy process. It is notoriously difficult. They, even at the hatcheries, where the hatcheries control every little detail, they still only have, I think, a 60 to 70% hatch rate. Ducks are very particular with the humidity and the warmth, and they're just a lot harder to hatch than chickens. And when we had absolutely no problem last year, you know, we did acknowledge that that was strange, that she hatched every single one of those eggs, and that everything went without a problem, no concerns with the ducklings. That's very abnormal. And we did acknowledge that, but I still think we went into this year thinking that we were gonna have a similar experience. And not only has everything been staggered and all over the place, but the hatching process itself has been difficult, and the other ducks have been difficult, and we have had to deal with a lot of dead ducklings, things that are just out of our control. Some of them are just, it's just the process. They don't hatch well. We didn't have to experience that last year, so that's a stressful thing. my ducks are my pets. I mean, they're like outside cats for me. I love my ducks. We don't have them because of egg production. We don't have them for meat. They are our pets because I love having them. So to experience this and go through all this stress with, you know, the ducklings not making it, or ducklings that are barely making it, and I'm having to bring them inside and nurse them back to health, and it's just a lot of stress. This is a loud truck. It'd be like if your cat was having kittens and it was going terribly wrong and you were, you know, rushing to try to make sure that all the kittens made it. I mean, to me, that's what it feels like, because that's what my ducks are to me. So it's been, I think, the straw that broke my back. It's not the only thing by far that's the problem, but it was just the last thing. It's a lot. Anyway, point is, I don't have to sit here and explain all the things that are stressing me out. Fact of the matter is I'm stressed out, right? And I am now driving for appointments that I can't reschedule, I can't deal with in my life, but I have to. I have to. There's nothing I can do. And I caught myself today, and this is a very, very good example of something that I talked about in my last video, my 6-month update, which I'll link up here. But here's a really good example of how I am still, like I said, I'm in the trenches, I'm in the middle of this, I'm still dealing with these things that surgery doesn't fix. Surgery does not heal your brain. It doesn't. And so although I am able to deal with things in a different way now, and I can't binge and I can't do some of the things physically that I used to do when I was stressed out, I still have thoughts and things that I rely on that are not helpful, that I need to work on those coping mechanisms. So it ran through my head today. I'm running around, I am like, oh my gosh, I better put some things together in a bag and take it with me to eat, because I'm gonna be on the road around lunchtime and I really don't wanna stop. Not just because I don't wanna eat those things, but like I absolutely don't wanna take any extra time today that I don't have to. I don't wanna stop and wait in a drive-through and go get food or something. I don't wanna have to rely on that. You could go around me, you don't have to be on my butt. I am speeding. Don't tell anybody. But I was running through my head on all the things that I have to do today. And then I remembered I have to stop for gas, and that I was gonna go and stop at Costco since it's on the way. And my old brain, my old head, which is, I guess, not my old brain, it's still my same brain. My brain is still the same, which is the whole problem and the whole point of this. But my old brain popped in and said, hey, you know, Panera's next to Costco, and you could easily grab something really quick to eat that would be appropriate, relatively healthy, aside from the fact that they're really expensive, and that's the main reason I don't like going to Panera. But in terms of things that are relatively healthy and something that you could eat on the road, I was like, yeah, I could do that. But my old brain was trying to trick me, because my old brain brought up Panera because the first thing that popped in my head was an amazing cookie that they have, which is as big as my face, mind you. And the first gosh darn thought I had about what I would eat at Panera, even though I put all this stuff into a bag so that I would have it on the road and I wouldn't have to stop, was this stupid cookie, which does nothing for me. It has way more sugar than I should eat. Not just should eat, but you know, I run the risk of dumping. I run the risk of feeling really sick if I eat something that sugary. Eating something that's that full of sugar and that type of thing would likely make me sick. And not only that, it doesn't give me anything. It doesn't provide a good amount of nutrients for my body to use. It certainly doesn't give me any protein. Man, I wish Panera had a protein cookie. Somebody email them. I don't want to, I don't have time. Thankfully, I was able to recognize it. And I'm not kidding. I'm going to be open about it. I'm just going to say, I was talking to myself out loud today. While I was getting ready to leave the house, I said, no, out loud. I said, you do not need to stop. You brought food with you specifically so that you didn't need to stop. Don't you dare make an excuse to hit Panera while you're out and about. Don't you dare. Because I can recognize it. And I can see this is a problem. Now that is infinitely better than what I used to do. Because before surgery, I would still have those moments where I would be like, you don't need that. You don't need to stop at a fast food place and get more than one fast food meal. You don't even need to get one fast food meal. And I would say, you don't need this, and you're going to be really upset with yourself if you do. The problem is I literally wouldn't listen to myself, and I would literally just do it anyway, and I would feel really guilty and real shameful the whole time because I knew I shouldn't do it, and I did it anyway. And eventually I would just sort of suppress it enough that I would just be in the middle of a binge without even like caring anymore that I shouldn't be doing that. So although the surgery doesn't fix that, it doesn't fix the thoughts, it doesn't help you with that, it has allowed me some perspective. Because now, instead of just, I shouldn't do that, I'm going to eat enough that I'm going to gain weight and I'm going to probably, feel really uncomfortably full for a while. Now, I know that physically I would run into an issue if I tried to stuff those kinds of things into my tiny stomach. But also, I have the dumping to be concerned about, and it's a different kind of feeling. I would eat until I would be very uncomfortable. I would eat so much food, partially because I had kind of like a bottomless pit of a stomach. And unless I ate way too much, I didn't have that full feeling. And I think sometimes when I was stressed out, I would seek that, and I would seek it until I felt that full feeling. But unfortunately, once I felt that, it was way too much, and it was a very uncomfortable feeling. But that's totally different than what I feel now. When I get dumping now, if I eat something that makes me sick, I feel sick. I feel like I can't concentrate, and my heart rate goes up, and sometimes I feel lightheaded and like I need to lay down for a bit, and it's a very different feeling. It's totally different than being uncomfortable. Do you guys remember seeing that picture that went around a long time ago that was it a possum that got into some jelly donuts and like ate so much that it just looked miserable and it couldn't move? That's what I would feel like after a binge. I would be uncomfortable, and I would just kind of like need to sit there and do nothing. But I mean, I didn't feel sick as much as I just felt like, oh my God, like I can't move. But now I feel sick, and I don't like that. I don't like that nauseous feeling. I don't like that jittery heart rate. I hate it. I hate that feeling when I get dumping. And for the most part, I can avoid that if I just avoid the things that I know are going to be too much for me. So the surgery has helped me in that respect. It helps me acknowledge and be mindful about these things where I say, no, I don't need that, and I don't want that in my life, especially right now. If I were to go and make myself really sick with food right now, it would be just another thing that I have to deal with on top of all the other BS going on. I can't deal with that emotionally right now. Whereas before, that would make me feel better. It would sedate me in a way. Now, no, it would be just another thing to stress me out on top of everything else. So there it is. That's what I'm going through right now. And that's what I go through when I have these moments, when I'm stressed, when there's a lot going on. I still have this internal struggle. And for now, I am able to fight that. But I have to be mindful and working on this. This is why I say the mental health aspect of this is so much more important than the physical aspect and what you're eating. Working on this, because this is going to take months, maybe years for me to work through. And if I don't work through it now, later, when I'm years post-op and I'm able to eat a lot more and have a lot less restriction and a lot more of an ability to be flexible with things, because that happens. If I'm not working on these things now, when I have these feelings, am I going to be able to fight it like I am now? Or am I going to cave in and want to cope with that unhealthy coping mechanism and overeating if I don't deal with it now? It's so important. I cannot stress that enough. This mental health journey, that's what it is. This is a mental health journey. Because you cannot address the overeating and the gaining weight unless you address the mental health reason as to why it's happening. I think we all hope that there's this magic pill that you can take that'll fix all your problems. And surgery has been life-changing for me, but it has not fixed the problems. Those I have to do on my own. I have to do the hard work, and I have to work on it on my own. So I hope this is helpful in a good perspective, because I mean, I'm really struggling. Not in a way that I really feel like I'm going to go down a path that I'm not happy with, but just mentally, it's a struggle and it's exhausting. If you have ever dealt with anything remotely like this, where you feel like you're battling yourself and your thoughts and your gut and your inclination to go one direction, and your brain is like, no, we have to go the opposite direction of that. It's literally a battle in your head, and it is exhausting, and it just adds to the pressure and the stress sometimes. You know, I really want to make sure that I'm being transparent with that. Thank you, Google. Thank you. I really want to make sure that I am being transparent and making sure that people know that that's still a part of this process. This is not just about I'm measuring out 6 ounces of food and making sure I eat my protein. Yes, that's part of it, but this is so much bigger than that, and you have to be prepared for that journey, because it's hard. It's really, really, really hard. And all I can do is the best that I can do, and work at it and be mindful and just try to do the best that I can and make the best choices that I can, and work on those coping mechanisms. If I can't eat to make myself feel better, then I need to do something else. I don't know what that is yet. I haven't figured it out. I'm gonna have to carve out some time, figure out something that makes me feel good, and carve out some time for that, because self-care is important. It's really, really important. So like I said, I hope this was helpful. I hope it's a good perspective to have, and I hope you appreciate the transparency. I don't want this to seem like it's just a channel of like, hey, everything's positive, everything's great, because there are struggles. And so I am hoping to share that with you guys. So thanks so much for following along the journey. So I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day, and I am going to try not to have road rage, and I'm going to listen to a podcast that makes me happy and try to find a little island of self-care in this ocean of crap. So have a good one, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.